Hi, Year 11, welcome to the first part of a summary for Stave 2, A Christmas Carol. The stave opens and Scrooge is still in bed. He wakes up. He starts to question what happened and he doesn't know if he slept for a full day or not. He walks to the window, checks outside and sees that it's still dark and cold. Was it a dream? He returns to bed and listens out for the clock. He thinks that the spirits aren't coming. All of a sudden, a huge flash of light engulfs the room, and the first of the three spirits appears. Its appearance seems to be a mixture of everything, like a child, like an old man. The spirit has white hair, but then it doesn't have wrinkles on its face. It carries a Christmassy branch of holly, but at the bottom of its dress, it has lots of summer flowers. And coming out from the top of its head is a massive beam of light. The contrasts or juxtapositions used to describe this spirit for me represent that all stages of life are equally as beautiful and equally as important. Its light in particular contrasts Scrooge's darkness. After this description, the spirit eventually tells Scrooge that it is the ghost of Christmas past. It will take Scrooge back to his past. Scrooge doesn't seem to like the light of the spirit, so he asks it to put its cap on, but the spirit won't. The spirit implies that Scrooge is the type of person who made this cap, perhaps wanting to extinguish light, hope, and joy from the world. The spirit tells Scrooge that the reason it is there is for his welfare and benefit. So it tells Scrooge to get out of bed and walk with it to the window. The spirit takes Scrooge's hand and tells him that they're going to fly. Scrooge is scared, but the spirit reassures him that he will be upheld. Scrooge puts his trust in the spirit and they fly and leave his room behind. The two land in the countryside and Scrooge remembers that he was a boy who grew up there. The spirit realises that Scrooge is rather upset. His lip starts to tremble, and when the spirit asks, "What's that on your cheek?" he says that it's a pimple, when really it's a tear. Scrooge shakes it off, leading the spirit down the path he remembers, recognising every gate, tree, post, and seeing the little village in the distance. It's Christmas time, and the community come out. They're laughing and smiling, and the ghost reassures Scrooge that these are but shadows of the past. They can't see Scrooge or the spirit, so it's safe. Scrooge then is more excited about the people who he sees. He recognises every one of them. And when he hears people shouting Merry Christmas, it fills him with gladness. But then the tone shifts. The spirit reminds Scrooge that not everybody in this village is happy. There's a boy alone in the school. Scrooge admits that he knows the boy's there and he sobs. Scrooge and the spirit walk on towards the school. It's made up of dull red bricks and it doesn't seem like a very nice place. Inside, we're introduced to a boy who is lonely and a fire that is feeble, which reminds me of Bob Cratchit's situation. We know that this boy is Scrooge, and the spirit shows him comfort and love again by touching him on the arm. And Scrooge cries again. All of a sudden, Scrooge starts shouting out names of characters from famous children's books, and he's so excited to have these memories. When he remembers his childhood imagination, it makes him happy. But then Scrooge is overcome with guilt. He remembers that he was a poor boy, a lonely boy, a neglected boy. He reflects on his behaviour last night. He thinks it's too late, but he wishes he'd given money to the carol singer who knocked on his door. The scene magically changes, and then we see Scrooge, still as a young boy, walking alone again along the corridor of the school halls. As the older Scrooge looks on to his former younger self, he's nervous and he glances at the door, expecting somebody to come through it. But it's not a monster, it's his little sister Fan. She is so excited to see her brother and she gives him lots and lots of kisses. Scrooge doesn't often get visitors, so he wonders why Fan's there. And she says that she's there to take him home. She describes her brother as dear, which completely contrasts to other descriptions of Scrooge at the start of the novella. So at one point in his life he must have been loved, but loved by Fan, not his father. Fan assures Scrooge that their father has changed and their home is like a heaven now. She takes her brother by the hand and drags him out of the school. As they leave, the schoolmaster comes down and I get this awful feeling that he's a horrible man. As Scrooge's belongings are loaded onto the cart, the headmaster seems to loom over them as they head home. We learn that Fan was a loving woman, but she did die. Fan was mother to Fred, who Scrooge refused to dine with on Christmas Day. As Scrooge ponders this, the spirit leads him on towards the city.